You're listening to the Tech Addicts Podcast. This week we got Mr. Ricky West, new Hasselblad camera, FiiO's cassette tape dongle DAC, Wear OS 5 arrives and is pulled, transparent solar cells, more concerns about AI, Motorola doing a Thinkphone, Vivo hitting Android 15, and Marshall Monitor 3 headphones. Hello and welcome to the Tech Addicts Podcast. I'd be your host, Gareth, and this week I'm joined by, in Corner 1, Ted Salmon. Hello, Ted.
Hello everyone. Hello from North Wales. Hello.
Excellent. And in Corner 2 we have Ricky West. How are you, Ricky?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me back on. I'm good, and I am in the central part of the UK, in Milton Keynes.
Awesome. We do have to do the obligatory weather check. Rain and greyness here. Ricky, what's your end like?
Sunshine, which is rare.
In Milton Keynes. Okay. And Ted?
Yeah, same as Belfast, I reckon.
Yeah.
Very overcast, rainy, and quite cold. Perfect weather for me.
It is actually kind of warm today. It was 12 degrees, but I went outside to look for the dog earlier today, and I thought, no, it's not particularly cold. It's colder in the house than it is outside. But then that's the way of it, isn't it? Right, so Ricky, what have you been up to in the last, I think we worked it out, was 18 months, did you say, Ted?
Yeah, I think it was April 23.
That's really embarrassing. So I had the joys of getting married, which I'm very happy about.
Wow.
Yeah, married man now, it's off the market. Also in the planning of moving house, and also I got partnered with a new guide dog, which is called Summer, bless her, a yellow Labrador. So
Lovely.
I went through training and just getting to learn how to use a guide dog and actually just walking so much quicker again, which is good. Not bumping into things now.
Awesome.
And
Did you not have one before?
No, she is my first guide dog.
Right.
I had a long white cane before, so I was tripping people up with a cane, which was great fun around Ether and Mobile World Congress when I used to go. So now I have a guide dog. I've been invited to CES next year. I think Summer may be coming with me, which will be very interesting to take her on the plane and see what that's like. And then I've just started looking into growing my business again around like Ricky's Tech Talk and sort of having a little bit more of a focused niche on accessibility, because people mention it, but I don't think they understand the lived experience of it like I would do, being registered blind. So I want to sort of highlight those features when they are put on smartphones and on technology devices that make it more accessible to the wider audience, because there's a lot of people out there with disabilities that need an extra hand, and that may be software or an extra button, and also the removal of buttons that's been happening, but I think slowly that buttons are coming back. So I'm positive about that.
All right. Well, what is your tech loadout given your condition?
So normally a large monitor, 27 inches to 32 inches, depending. So I use macOS most of the time just because of the zoom and the voice back features. My Android device, I do have the TCL that you mentioned last week, I think.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I do have the Next Paper, and then also I was very kindly sent the Z Fold 6, which I really like, but it does have to go back because of the bigger display. I really like that. But always testing new monitors, so my monitor changes monthly most of the time.
Have you got the one I've reviewed and we spoke about on PSC yesterday, the 50 Pro Next Paper, the new phone?
I haven't got the new one, no. I've got their tablet and I've got their phone, I think was beginning of this year.
Oh, the 40?
Yeah,
Okay.
the 40.
Okay.
But I do like
Okay.
it. It's a good device.
I think the Next Paper is technology. It's very similar. I was saying on the show last night that it's just amazing to run your finger over it. It's so much like a really good quality Kindle screen. It's so nice to use.
Definitely so. And the multiple different reading modes, which is on the 40 and the tablet, under accessibility, you can change the reading modes. And they've hidden them, which I don't know why, but they have hidden them. But it allows you, if you need to change the colour layout really helps. So if you prefer that Kindle format, you can have it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very good.
Well, that's cool that you two can compare notes on TCL as we talk about their announcements and things as we go on. All right, well, we're going to move into the feedback section because there is a good bit of feedback. We've got a couple of messages in from folks regarding previous shows and other bits and pieces. So Ian Barton has written in and said, for several years I have been running an i3 box with Arch Linux. Yes, I forgot to put a thing in the show notes about an announcement Arch Linux have made with Steam, which is very exciting, but we'll maybe talk about that later on. And TV head end to record TV. A couple of months ago, the motherboard died. I wanted to record TV directly to one of my Unraid servers, Unraid being an operating system that you can run independently, up in the attic. Unfortunately, there is no TV aerial coax connectors in the attics. I decided to buy this box. It's the Silicone Dust HD Home Run. You can plug the HD Home Run into your aerial in the lounge and use the other aerial connector to plug directly into the TV. The HD Home Run has an Ethernet port, so I can connect to another box somewhere in the network using MB. People still use MB. Fair enough. That's cheeky. I'm sorry. I can connect directly to the box to watch live TV. MB is on my Unraid server, supports HD Home Run, so I can record TV programs using the schedule from the HD Home Run. I can watch MB recordings from anywhere else on the planet that has Wi-Fi and decent internet access. HD Home Run app is on Android and iOS, and that allows you to record programs and watch the recordings. Very nice, Ian. Thanks very much for letting us know about that. That sounds like a great little addition to anyone's kind of cord-cutting ways, but relying more so on maybe Freeview and FreeSat as well. But obviously, if it's coming in by coax, you could also, plug in cable and Sky, Virgin-y type things, couldn't you? Or do they come in via the internet now? I think they do. My mother got Virgin recently, and it comes in via the internet connection. Yeah.
155 quid that is, by the way.
Yeah, nice enough wee box. It's just got an Ethernet on the back and a USB.
Yeah.
Cool.
Very nice. Nice solution.
Very nice, very nice. What's Steve got to say, Ted?
Steve Litchfield is musing on why you probably don't need a VPN. You're absolutely safe without a VPN, he says. Every internet-facing application accesses data over an already secure connection. There's nothing bad guys could do, even if they were to somehow intercept random batches of your over-the-air ones and noughts. VPNs are over-the-top security. It will make activity significantly slower because of extra encryption. Pages will take longer to load. Videos will buffer more, etc. You just don't need a VPN, he rants. You really don't. Even in a dodgy cyber cafe in Turkey, your own encryption built into your OS and applications is quite enough. One caveat to all this, he says, however, is that the VPN's ability to fake where you are in the world and which service you're accessing, which is borderline illegal, he says, or at least against terms and service of which service you're accessing. But so what, he says, save your money. So yeah, I kind of got the same. I think Google got the same impression as well when they stripped it out of their pixel lines, at least for anyone to use. And may be useful at an airport or something. I don't know. I think Steve's probably right though. It's a bit of a buzz thing.
Well, kind of, yeah. It can be depending on what you're doing, and also, I think this was on the back of some of the comments I made on the last show about Google One and being a bit annoyed that Google VPN no longer exists inside of Google One. It's one less service that you're getting for the money, and as a result, I ended up cancelling my Google One. Because I didn't think it was value for money anymore. I use a VPN day and daily for a couple of different things, primarily WireGuard. And I know WireGuard and VPNs are slightly different, but they do kind of do the same thing. It's primarily because your internet provider in my case, Virgin or BT or whatever, they can monitor what you're doing and block various websites that you might be going to, depending on, whatever they feel that should be blocked. And it gives you a freer internet. And I know it's only a handful of sites that might be blocked, and they are blocked for good reason, whether it be to protect children or to try to curb private piracy or those sorts of things. But there's certain websites that you might want to go to that you can't go to, and that's not for someone to tell me whether I can do that or not. If it's an illegal website, absolutely. If it's a legal website and they're saying, no, you can't go there, then that's not for my IP or internet provider to tell me that I can't go there. Also, they can scan all those ones and zeros as it's going through their domain name service and providing them with information of what I'm doing at the time, and they can sell that to whoever they want. Which I'm not entirely happy about, so I prefer to have my WireGuard working to kind of obscure what I'm doing so that my internet provider doesn't know what I'm doing, and therefore they can't sell my information. It's just an extra layer that makes it's not foolproof, it's not bulletproof or anything like that, but it's an extra layer that makes it a wee bit more difficult for people to just shave off a bit of your privacy and make a bit of money for themselves on the side. That's what I say we should be using things like that for.
We had an example of, on our Whatever Works podcast, we were trying to order something for Whatever Works from an American store, which is only available in America, and I just could not get onto their website. They just wouldn't let me even see their website. When eventually we got on, not via VPN, by some other route instantly, which is another story. It turned out that with good reason, because they would not ship their product to the UK. So that what they're saying basically is, by putting all those measures in place, they're saying, well, there's no point in you looking at our website because we won't send it to you anyway.
Well, that's one of the examples I was trying not to get into, but I would buy 4Ks an awful lot, and they're quite difficult to get here in the UK. And you have to go on, and you can price match between places that do provide them here in the UK, and they can be really expensive whenever they do that, because they import them themselves and then sell them on to you with a wee bit of profit, plus customs, and then the value of what it was. So it's a good bit more. Whereas I have family who live out in the US. Not that I've been there in a while, but I do frequently just check the pricing of what it is over in the States so that I can order it there, because that's an address I can use, and then have it delivered there, and then next time I'm in the States I can take it and put it in my suitcase and bring it home, and when they say, do you have anything to declare, I say, absolutely. I put my hand up and I stand there. God is my witness, I have these 4Ks, and I'll pay customs there. Yeah. So it's those little things. That's a good example. News is another one as well. Things like Russia Today or Russia Times, RT, whatever it used to be. That's completely removed from anyone to watch in the UK or read in the UK. That's not right. We're only being fed, and I'm not going to get into the whole conspiracy thing because I'll leave that to Alan Gilday on the Projector Room podcast. We're only being fed what the BBC and things like that tell us, and we have to listen to that. We don't hear the other side of what is being told to areas, say, in a conflict that are on the other side of it. So you're only being told what you're told. And you can't go and make have an opinion on exactly what is happening in the whole thing, because you've only got one side of the story. So it's necessary for those sorts of things, and there's a wealth of other ones that you could delve into, but there's no point in getting into all of that right now.
Okay then.
Ricky, do you use a VPN?
So I was the same as you. I do, because I have family in America. So I've got their address. When I go over, I will buy something and send it there, because either it's not available here or I can get it over there. So I could have got the Apple devices. They were shipping more recently to the US than what they were outside because of the shipping requirements and the restrictions they had on the latest devices, you were still able to buy in the US, whereas the UK sold out. But the thing is, the customs coming through would have actually made it more expensive than what it would have been in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I use VPN for certain things to send to America. Again, websites like Best Buy used to be available in the UK. Is now, I think you can still access it without a VPN, but with a VPN you can then go through and purchase.
Yeah. Oh, you get companies as well that decide to pay the customs for you anyway. Like if you buy something off eBay that's second hand. I did buy, was it a computer or a games console at one stage, and it was sent to me second hand, very old, but they'd written on the box games console. So DHL had paid customs on it being a games console. They didn't know what was inside. They just estimated it would be the value of. And I got a bill for £50 or something, and a demand to pay that. It's like, well, it was a second-hand item. Tough. We've already paid it to them, so you need to pay us. Yeah. Well, I want to appeal that. Tough. That's extra work that you have to put in. Yeah, but anyway. Sorry. Getting a bit sidetracked there with customs. Boo. Right. Ted, you've reviewed the TCL 50 Pro Next paper.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about. Ricky and I just put the link in the show notes, so right. it would make it through to anyone that wants to follow it through.
And confusingly put it in after the feedback.
Sorry,
just
I apologise.
Just trip me up. I got you. Well, we'll stay with me because I'm going to do a little bit of the Linux levity because I have been playing with Linux just a little bit more. And there's one thing that I would say I've finally got working, but it's because it's been sitting on the back burner. I set it up for a long time, and I thought I'll find use cases for that and set it up over the next few weeks. Over the next few months, I finally found a few use cases for it and sat down and actually started tinkering with it. This is a thing, and Ted, I think you had something similar to this back in the day called SyncToy, maybe?
Oh, right,
This is Syncthing. And it's a open. Damn, I can't remember words today. What do you call them? Open source.
Open source.
A platform that allows you to be able to synchronize between devices really quickly, really fast over your own Wi-Fi without using something in the middle. Having cancelled Google Drive and trying to move away from having stuff on servers in the cloud, it seemed like a very logical and sensible thing to do because I've got a NAS running 24/7. I can use that as kind of a 24-hour, 7 days a week go-between to be able to sync things over Wi-Fi and LAN in my own home at blisteringly fast speeds. And it really is. I am absolutely over the moon with this. But it took a couple of minutes to get into the mindset of how it actually works, where you're actually syncing a folder to a folder on devices without a central cloud source. But I'm putting in a central source, being my NAS, to be able to sync through, so it can, whenever something's on, it can sync up to the NAS, and then when something else is on, it can sync from the NAS over to that thing, so you get it that way, as opposed to the way that it's kind of designed, which is where your computer's on, your tablet's on, you set a folder up, and it'll just sync the two without anything in between. So it's one of those really useful little things that you need to have a use of. But I'm the more I'm sort of playing with it, and it does have a wee bit of a steep learning curve, I'll give you that. The whole interface on it isn't as nice and useful as some of the more the larger, more commercial options out there. But if you sit with it, then it'll all start to fall into place, and it'll be like, right, that's what that does. And there's countless videos on YouTube on how to use it and use cases that you can actually start to use it. And it's just a terrific little service that once you have set up, you can just set it and forget it and walk away. It's great. It just syncs things from one computer to another without you having to worry.
Not just
Ted.
Linux either. It says that it works on Mac OS and Windows and all sorts of other operating
Android
systems.
too, yeah.
Yeah. So
And then the beauty of it as well, where my tablet is, I don't actually have the official Syncthing application on it. I've got one called Syncthing Fork, which is a fork that someone else has made of the open source software, and because it's got one feature that I use on my tablet more so than on my phone or on my Chromebook or my work laptop. It just all syncs. It's wonderful.
But this is symptomatic of the whole. I'm still waiting to start my Linux experiments, as you know. I was looking at the Mint forum this week, and this whole thing about it being inaccessible and not very user friendly, that was coming across it even in the Mint forum. I know there are tutorials in there, and there are help, you can ask questions and all the rest of it, but I was just clicking on some of the links in the forum. They were just using language that I had no idea what they were talking about. It's almost like before you even start, you need to go and do a course on this to learn how to talk the stuff. And I guess it's probably no wonder that some people look at Linux and kind of give up, because it seems like it's a bit of an insider job with, people, nerds and geeks who kind of talk a different language. And accessibility, I think, is an issue with Linux.
Well, I don't agree with that anymore. With the wake of Mint and Zorin, they're incredibly accessible. To do more tinkering under the hood, yes, it does get a bit complicated, but no one really would say that about the idea of ditching your Windows and buying a Mac. I used Macs for a few years and then stopped using them and then bought a MacBook a couple of years back, and I sat and looked at it going, I don't know how to do anything on this.
Yeah,
what do I do?
Yeah.
But that's okay. But whenever it comes to Linux, it's oh no, it's really, really difficult. I had an Amstrad, I had a friend with a Spectrum, and a friend with a Commodore 64. I didn't know how their computers worked. If you asked me to load a game on them, I wouldn't have a clue. But
sure, but in relation to
learn.
In relation to this bit of software, what I'm saying is that you said yourself, in order to it's quite difficult to get your head around it and to work it. I can't remember exactly what you said, but you essentially said it's, there are more user friendly versions out there, and that's what I'm thinking generally about Linux. Anyway, I haven't got there yet. Ian is sending over me the Mint SSD thingy, and hopefully it will arrive this week, so I'll be able to start talking the language.
Well, it is also down to me as well, where I can sit down with Syncthing and go, this is a bit complicated. You might actually, having used SyncToy or whatever it was years ago, because I think I remember looking at that and going, how does this work?
Okay.
But you might actually go, oh, right, you do this, and that. Okay, that works. Yeah, that works.
Fair enough.
And there you go.
Okay.
Whereas I was syncing 3 different folders to 2 different devices, and then getting duplicates, and then an empty folder, and it went and deleted everything that was in all the folders, and I was a bit confused as to why it was. And then I realised, right, so there's the send and the receive. Oh, gotcha now. But it took a wee minute for me to be able to get that in and into my way of thinking.
Okay. Right, okay, yeah.
Ricky, have you ever heard of Syncthing?
No, apart from what you've from what I've seen from the notes, but actually looking at it could be quite helpful for me, because obviously I have multiple devices that I either edit on or watch things on, so it'd actually be good to have them all talking to each other. And while you guys were talking, I was just having a little look at the accessibility from like a visual point of view and hearing impairments, and that actually seems to be quite a wide range of settings available on Linux as well for accessibility, which is good to see.
There you go, yeah. And that's because it's written by people, say, like you, me, or Ted, to use it. It's not some CEO going, right, okay, we have 20 minutes in order to install accessibilities, and we're going to use 13 top scientists. After that, done. It's not economically viable to do any more.
Yeah.
But with Syncthing, I recorded a video on my camera, and I thought I could edit a wee bit of that on my tablet. And I brought in 18 gigabytes of footage and stuck it in a Syncthing folder that synced to my tablet, and it was there in 3.5 minutes. I was able to tinker around with it and then go back to my computer, and all the changes had been made. I was able to tinker around with it then. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Okie dokie, moving into the news. We're going to start with transparent solar cell technology. I've already got it open, actually. This could change smartphones and cars that self-charge. This is a particularly new and exciting idea that has come out from the Ulsan National Institute of Science and Technology in South Korea, that's developed a transparent solar cell. That is a technology that's capable of directing charging to a battery from a glass surface. That's why they always have glass buildings in the future in sci-fi movies, because they're all self-charging. Yeah, there we go. It allows a direct energy generation from sources like smartphone screens and car windows and building facades. That's kind of cool. What would you make of this, Ted? You could cover your mobile home in glass and charge everything.
You could, and one of the aspects of this is that they're working on a way to connect the panels together so that there's no wiring in between them, and it's an invisible join. That's the second part of this whole technology that they're evolving. The obvious bit is, we on the show a few shows ago we covered the fact that they made some solar panels transparent to put into buildings and making windows of solar panels. Well, this just takes it a stage further, and the obvious implication of this on this scale is, the glass fronts of mobile phones, which means that if you're in Cairo, your phone will be charged all the time, and if you're in Reykjavik, it won't. But yeah, the whole front of your phone being a solar panel, effectively, and there being no joins between the little panels, and you only need to charge it when it's the middle of winter or you're not outside or whatever. So yeah, very interesting.
Yeah. Any ideas of how this could work into your life and benefit you?
I was going to say, it'd be handy on the roof. Like if you could put it on the roof of the house as well. Because I'm looking, because I'm buying a house, and my poor wife, I am looking to make it the most techie house possible, and the smartest smart home that is actually easy to use, but also how we're going to interact with the home will be different as well. From an accessibility point of view, I'm going to find things that work through communication, text, and voice, so different options there. But stuff like this is important to have. It's interesting delving into the world of solar panels and understanding what the differences are, to see this happening. And by the look of the research here, they've managed to actually output quite a bit. 16 centimetre cell, 235 milliwatts. Is that microwatts? Yeah. Which is really impressive. And it's very interesting to see, as you said, glass, what will we see it on? Because there's so many different things made of glass surfaces that then leads to potentially shop fronts as well, sort of having a glass surface that will help them power. Yeah, skylights. It would really help from an environmental side as well.
It will, yeah. Although as the Earth becomes more and more covered in glass, it means that the astronauts will have to wear sunglasses, possibly. Or re-entry. Okay, wasn't he? I think I mentioned this a wee while ago. There was a thing about solar paint as well, where they were painting.
Oh yeah.
Solar technology onto things, and it was able to charge. You could paint a building with solar paint, or it was shed roofs. I think it was they were doing, and it conducted a little bit of energy out. So you could just. I wonder if you could paint that over the top of this glass and make it twice as
it does
efficient.
It does make the whole world really ugly, though, because apparently the efficiency factor means that if you're going to try and power your house, Ricky, with in terms of really making a difference to your electricity bill and the nation's electricity bill, you need to just cover the whole of the roof to get anywhere near it. There's a house near where I live where they've done exactly that, and it just looks dreadful. They need to be able to do something more attractive, I think, than just have glass panels all over a roof.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like looking, and also it all depends where the direction of your house as well. So if you're buying north, south, or east, west, depending where your house lays, actually really dramatically changes your percentage of output and actually use. And then, does it make it affordable and cost worthy? sometimes doesn't. And around where I live is quite a affluent estate, and you can see people that have gone for the very budget-looking solar panels, and then around the road I've got a gentleman, I went and spoke to him, he's got these black solar panels that are flush against the roof and look very smart and very interesting in the design aspect. It is totally different compared to the traditional panels that you see most people having.
Are they more conductive then, or do they operate just as well as the budget ones, do you think?
They output more, but he's got batteries as well. He's got batteries to store that energy. And then with that, he said the cabling was less, but obviously I couldn't go and dig around in his loft. But he was saying the cabling was less. It just feeds straight into the batteries, and then obviously either goes back to the grid or use. So that system there.
But then the batteries are maybe about 10 grand and they only last 5 years or something like that. So
yeah.
Got to factor that into your savings too. Excuse me. Well, yeah, I suppose anyone with a window cleaning business is going to be seeing dollar signs with this kind of idea. So that'll be Robin Asquith in Confessions of Window Cleaner making money now. So AI hype is at an all-time high, but only few of us actually use it today. And that is, I think that's absolutely true. And obviously we had Mr. Bradbury on a couple of weeks ago, or a few weeks ago now, talking about the pros and cons of AI and giving us food for thought of what it is. But it still comes down to the commerciality, how much it costs for people to use it day and daily. And that is one of the things that we're going to be getting into, I think, a couple of times on this show. And that is, how much AI costs and how much you have to pay to use it. I suppose that's the cost. I've been using Brave for the last wee while, and I've been really enjoying their AI that they've built into it, which is called Leo. But I've hit the paywall now, which it's going to cost me $15 a month to carry on using it if I want to use it.
What do you use it for? It's just
enough summarising a news article like the one we're currently reading by Tech Radar Pro.
Okay.
So I don't have to read the whole thing. You can click a button. Don't click it, because that'll use one of your very precious free demonstrations of how Leo actually works. But I can carry on using Leo at $15 a month. No, for that I'll just happily sit and read the article myself and use a little bit extra time. I'm not paying $15 to have it give me a slightly inaccurate description of what exactly is going on in the story, or possibly inaccurate, not slightly inaccurate, possibly inaccurate description, because it did make a couple of mistakes on a few things and I reported them back to them, and that was the free model done. So yeah, obviously AI is going to cost more. What do you guys think?
I guess it depends on how busy you are, frankly. Because this article is relating to people at work, and saying that only 4% of people surveyed use it daily, whatever that means. But I think it does depend on how busy you are, because if you're really, really busy in your job and you can just say to a microphone or a computer, send an email to so and so, and tell them that I'll get back to them later, and then walk away and do the next job. So leave the AI to get on with that task and trust that it's going to do it properly. Or generate a quote for Mrs. Bloggs, who I visited yesterday. You know the address, and send her an email and ask her if she wants to see me next week sometime. And that's it. It's gone. You then are on to the next one. Whereas if you're like me, or dare I say you, I know you're much more busy than I am, Gareth, but you have got time to read that article. You don't have to have it summarised, like you just said. So I think to some degree it depends on people's, and obviously 4% is not a big. I don't know. Ricky, do you use AI at all on a kind of practical day-to-day basis?
So yeah, I do. For my day job, we're restricted. For my day job, I'm restricted of how much AI is allowed to see what I'm dealing with. But from a content creator side, I've actually used it quite a lot and tested different systems, because, say for me reading articles, it's great if something summarises it for me. It saves my eyes. So it's really interesting to hear that your two approaches, because for me, it's a big bonus because one, it saves me time because me reading an article will take longer than both yourself and Gareth, but it does miss things. It does miss some key details.
Yeah.
But then from a creator side, it's the way you ask questions, and I think it's the way you've got to learn to prompt it. So you can't just say, create me a YouTube title about the Z Fold 6. You've got to say, create a title that's engaging, that's under a certain amount of characters using these keywords. Then you get a ranking video. And I've started to do this with my YouTube recently, and some of my videos have started to become more ranked, like in Google search terms and on YouTube, and I've noticed a difference by doing these slight little tweaks with it. It's actually really helped benefit to grow. But to other people, it's, oh, I'll have a go. Yeah, it's not too interesting. I'm not going to bother using it. So that's what most of my friends say, and like family as well. I've told them about it, and they're like, oh, I'm not really interested. I don't want something else listening to me. I don't really want to talk to another person. So for me, I think it's a big plus, and I'd happily pay subscription for it. I currently don't, because I use Google Gemini and ChatGPT base sort of styles, but then I've had to go at pro options just to sort of see what it's like. And it all depends what you want to do with it. It's then, is it cost worthy for those extra benefits?
Well, yeah. I think the cost measure and how it's costed enters into it considerably. Where I was using Leo, every time I pressed the button to do something, that counts as essentially, using a token to use the AI thing. Now, it's an algorithm. It's a piece of software that analyzes something and does it quickly, and it uses your microchips that are built inside of your computer to do the majority of it where it's built there. And obviously it sends it all off up to the internet to analyze it there as well and get a better idea. So it utilizes all these different things, and it's got so much going on in the background. But where it comes to the idea that, Ted, you're talking about a letter that's being sent out, or a quote's being sent out to Mrs. Esterhouse, because that's a nice name. That would have an implication on a business where they're looking at every token being used, every click of that button being used. So the way it seems to be priced, and currently I think Gemini gives you, 4 million for £10 a month or $10 a month, and that's going to change and be able to push up and down so that every time that click happens, they generate a little bit of money essentially. And the more businesses they get doing that and getting rid of secretaries who might have done that themselves, or personal assistants that may have done it, or administrators built into a business that generate those letters, it's going to be, it's so much cheaper to use this than it is to pay that person a wage and a pension and national insurance and all that kind of stuff. So people are obviously going to opt for the AI option. And that's a really kind of scary thing, and they have to make sure that it is meticulously accurate. Now, obviously, a secretary, PA, or whatever is not going to be as accurate 100% of the time as you would ideally want them to be, and there will be typos and mistakes and dates are wrong and things like that. And the AI will probably have something similar, but you have to, trust a system. And given that every company is coming out with an AI system, it is getting all lumped together in that it uses ChatGPT, or it could use something else or something else. It could use Gemini, it could use this, it could use that. You don't know actually really what's in the background. I don't know what Brave's Leo uses, but I'm happy enough to use it because they're for free. And I know WordPress has one built into it as well, and they're trying to get you to try to buy it for something like $15 a month. But they're two different things. I can't use Leo to generate things off of a WordPress post that I'm putting together. So I would theoretically have to purchase both the WordPress one, which could be different to the Leo one, if I wanted to use that. Or if Microsoft start using one in Microsoft Word, then they're going to be saying, well, you're going to have to use our AI model. You can't use the one that's in WordPress that you're paying £15 a month for. So before you know it, you're going to end up paying about 3 different subscriptions to be able to get AI into all the different platforms that you use. There's no one thing. And you'd think that OpenAI might be the one thing because it's open and it's AI and it's for everyone, isn't it? And it's not for profit, although we'll be talking later about how it is now for profit. That's going to be another problem that obviously is going to need regulated, but in this infancy, people are going to be taking out subscriptions to these big things because they think they need it and then realise that they can't use it across the board. Any thoughts on that? No?
Fair
enough.
Yeah, go on, Ricky.
Bit of a tirade.
I'm like you, I worry about subscriptions. Like the amount of subscriptions I have had doubles year on year for different things, and it will get to a point where I think you're already seeing it's too much for some people, and you're having to choose which subscriptions you're going to ditch, what comes with it, and also I was looking at this as well, what actually comes with your subscription. I don't think the majority of people know what they are fully entitled to with a subscription. Say, look at Amazon Prime, what you get. If you dig right through their service agreement, actually what's included is quite a lot, but you need to know about it. And then you could go and sign up for another. A good example for that one is the Deliveroo, because you could sign up for Deliveroo Extra, but with Amazon you get it a discount anyway. There's like a cross.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
there's a cross discount thing there, and some people are paying twice for the same thing. And I think some people are quite happy to see this 1 month free or 6 months at a reduced price. Just jump on it and go for it, and then just leave it, and then realise, oh, actually I'm paying twice for one thing, or I've got that subscription I didn't even use, or I used it once. And that's the worst thing. It's great, these like the options for AI, but there's going to be a limitation of costing so much for some people, and you cost certain people out. And I think they'll use a model that's best for business, of course, because the more business clients they'll get, that's more revenue than individuals. And there'll be individuals such as myself. I would still use it. So for me, I have Grammarly, which is really helpful, and the AI feature on that is free at the moment. I'm wondering how long that's going to be an extra add-on. Because it's free and it's learning at the moment. Because it says it's in testing and learning phase, and it's improved over time. But I just wonder how long that's gonna be before that AI feature is actually an extra charge on top, or your subscription goes up and that's included. So again, that's still an increase in price.
Yeah. No, I raised a couple of weeks ago that I felt that Google Drive and Microsoft as well both gave you huge amounts of kind of free storage for you to put all of your data in, and they went and used that as a data mine for their AI models. And as soon as they kind of finished scanning all of your information, documents and pictures and things like that, and getting as much to build their robust AI model, they start charging you for the drive space, and they're like, well, we don't need your stuff anymore, so you can either get rid of it or you're going to have to pay to keep it there. But now we've got this AI model that we've built off of all your information. You can buy it. And it is just a license to print money. And there was an article this week on Engadget about how OpenAI are now planning to increase the price of ChatGPT over the next 5 years. And I think there was some figures here that I picked out where they took 300 million in revenue in August. However, they expect to lose 5 billion over the course of the year, and they're looking to entice investors to pay in about 7 billion. So they're having to move from not for profit to for profit to be able to support themselves. But a majority of all the learning has happened now, and the big companies are interested, and they can see how this can feed out. And in years to come, I'm sure things will start to settle out. But right now, I think it's going to be a wild west of people paying things that are are ridiculously overpriced for a small amount of AI that they'll be able to use on one platform and not be able to use on another platform, and have to, try to be really clever about things to be able to get maximum value out of the subscription that they decide to eventually take, because they are quite expensive for what they actually offer, unless you really need it. And I'm not saying that there aren't people who genuinely need it, but these kinds of this sort of Wild West, which isn't quite looked after by the powers that be just yet, it's going to be a Wild West, as I said. So I'm a bit concerned.
Yeah,
I'd like to use it, but I can't.
Yeah, OpenAI is saying that they're going to charge $22 a month by the end of this year for users, which is kind of in keeping with what Gemini want to charge for people that pay for it above the free model. But then, yeah, you're right. By the end of 5 years, up to $44. Now, in 5 years' time, that $44 is going to be probably much more than that, unless they decide that that the market will not tolerate that and people are not paying it. Like Ricky said earlier, if you don't cop up, then what are they going to do then? Just fold, I suppose, and hand over their data to someone else, which actually they probably bought from someone else anyway in the first place. It's all just about money and making things pay, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Getting you to take out another subscription.
Yeah.
Anyway, so on the back of that, Ted has very kindly pointed out an article over on Tech Radar. This is a scary one to look into. Graham Barlow over there had a go at Google's new one-click AI podcast creator. And it scared the pants off him. Ted, what do you think about this?
Yeah, you need to watch the video really and take in the context of what's going on here and what they did in order to create this video. The video is a podcast that they cooked up about Tai Chi, and it's an audio podcast. But the point is that they chucked the data at this tool, and it just came up with this conversation between two people about the topic, and it's just amazing to listen to it and see the intonation and the flowing conversation and the interruptions and just all the human elements of what would really happen in real life. And you sit there listening to this and you think, this is not AI. This really is it's got to be two people. It's just amazing. Did you actually listen to it?
I did. Yeah. It is a bit scary. It reminds me of a thing I saw during the week. Starling Bank did a similar thing with James Nesbitt, who is a Northern Irish actor who has a very identifiable voice because he's the only Northern Irish person that people know outside Northern Ireland. But he has a conversation with himself over the phone, and someone is able to sit and type certain lines that are voiced back to him over the phone in his voice, where he is saying, I'm currently off shooting a movie, can you send me your bank details? I'm going to send you some money. And he's a bit scared by the whole thing, but it's another example of a deeply scary audio-based AI bit of tomfoolery that end up catching people out and costing them yet more money on top of the subscription they're already paying for ChatGPT. Ricky, have you seen these?
I've just seen the article, and I'm going to look forward to listening to the video. But I was alerted. One family member showed me a photo of, I think it was Disney World and the hurricane, and it's been doing the rounds. And actually, it was an AI-generated photo, but it convinced so many people that they thought that's what it looked like at Disney World in Florida, and it was so hard to tell. Except for me being in that world of AI and seeing what AI can do, I questioned it, and it was a sort of a joke and a hijinks to show what AI could do, because it was Orlando, Florida, hurricane season, and this is what it looked like over the Magic Kingdom castle, and it fooled a lot of people. And I did question it when I first saw it. I thought, oh wow, that's interesting. And then I looked at it again, and it was quite scary how it can mislead people, and you see it more and more. I see it on like different social channels all the time, it being misled. And I think
that the one with all the forking lightning going out? Forking lightning.
No, it was just a very grey sky, but this huge thundercloud over. But
right.
It looks really, really, really convincing. So it'd be interesting to see this, because I've seen some AI stuff as well. Because I'm with Starling, and they sent out an email to customers about fraud and saying that this is how good it is, and it did have an audio clip of a human, but actually saying that came from a AI audio chat feature. So
that's probably the James Nesbitt thing, yeah.
It could well be, actually. I need to check. But it was interesting that banks are talking about that, or that bank was as well, because fraud, again, can happen to most people. They, like, if you think my grandparents, like my mum, potentially wouldn't know the difference between AI and reality.
Mm-hmm.
So it is worrying. Anyone like our age, younger, will, of course, be able to most probably tell. But can you truly tell? That's the thing. If it's convincing James Nesbitt, of all people, that it's a slightly worrying.
Well, they are saying that you and your family should establish a particular keyword that you would say. Like, instead of saying hello, you say booty or something like that. You know, that's what we would do here in Northern Ireland. James Nesbitt would certainly do that too. But have some sort of keyword that would identify that you are you.
Yes.
Which is a bit crazy. So you'd probably have to come up with one every week and then be able to share that around, not in WhatsApp or online, but actually on pieces of paper that you post through people's doors, so that you know that if you're calling anyone in your family over the next 7 days, you are going to say the word wibble at them in the phone call, and then that'll verify it's you. So you have to set up a whole rota and a whole encrypted password system to be able to make a phone call to your mum to check she's okay. Okay?
Yep. Sounds fun times ahead.
Excellent. So, anyway, yeah, right. Grand. We'll move on to Huawei. Why not? They're going to replace Windows with their own HarmonyOS on upcoming PCs, which seems like a bit of an interesting switcheroo for most people. Has anyone played with HarmonyOS, especially on a desktop?
No, I haven't. I not had the chance, and shied away from spending my own money on any Huawei stuff because you can't get GMS on it. Ricky, have you had a chance in one of these shows or something?
No, I haven't. I was very lucky to see some of their stuff, their latest like laptops last year, I think it was, but not with HarmonyOS on. No.
Right. And this is the next generation of HarmonyOS, which is called HarmonyOS Next. Which is, you know, making it even better and more. I think I welcome this. I think I know it's not to do with Google, and it's very China based, and you know we're kind of encouraged by the Western tech people and governments to not be interested in this, but actually I think it is interesting, and it's interesting that someone else is doing something different, and maybe the ban that Huawei got would actually be quite a good thing globally if this HarmonyOS is pushed out more broadly, and we can see a bit like we were talking earlier about Linux, and just doing something different to the kind of main players, the Mac OS and the Windows, and let there be someone else out there doing something else, which hopefully, as I say, in time, globally, we could also use if we wanted to, and take the risk, if we believe the governments, of giving all your data to the Chinese military. But, you know, who knows what that's about. I'm just interested in the tech to see what Huawei are doing. And yes, I would like a look at it, Gareth.
Well, yeah, I do think there's a perfect opportunity, and I can't believe it hasn't been done yet. I always imagined that Android was going to be the one that filled the gap, where you had an operating system that ran on everything, your phone, tablet, and desktop, laptop, whatever it is you happen to be using. Mm-hmm. And the fact that no one has actually managed to do that, and I know that's down to, you know, compatibility with hardware and technology and screen sizes and all that kind of crap, but we're getting closer to it. So I reckon we're going to start seeing the one operating system that does it all at some point in the future. You know, Linux can certainly do it with the likes of Ubuntu is now on mobile phones as well as your desktop.
Mm-hmm.
But
and Google are trying to do it as well with amalgamating Chrome OS with Android. The whole Fuchsia experiment seemed to die a death, and that's what they were after with that. That seems to have ended up in the home, the home devices, but not any further. But yeah, so people are trying to do that kind of amalgamation thing across everything. But perhaps HarmonyOS will be the first one to get there.
I'd like to think that it's going to be. It has to be for that to be a big sales point, and for a certain amount of people would adopt that internationally. If it was to do that, businesses would be so pleased. They'd be able to have one operating system for their work laptops and their mobile phones, and just have to worry about that one thing instead of having. I've got a work iPhone. One of the girls in work has an Android phone, and then we've got Windows laptops, so we need a particular piece of software formatted for all three of those devices, as opposed to just one operating system running between the three. Maybe one day.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Right, moving on to Galaxy Buds FE, which they can cause hearing loss, apparently. They tend to explode in your ears, which is a feature that they didn't include in their keynote quite recently. But people probably would have benefited from. What happened, Ted?
It was well. To be fair, your clickbait headline, audible headline there, it's not quite right. This is one incident of one person, I think in India, who claims to have had this thing catch fire in her ear. Whereas, but actually, Samsung are adamant that the earbud. This is a bit of a money grab, and that this happened because of external factors, they say, and it did not explode. But who knows the truth of that? Anyway, this was. I'm not saying it was funny if it's true, but it was just an interesting thing that the tech press got hold of, and someone is obviously trying to make some money out of. And it turns out that it's one incident with one bud.
Wow. The external factor was the fact that there was a large amount of paraffin around her ear and a light.
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's not funny if it's true. We wouldn't wish that on anyone, the poor lady. But if it's a scam and it's not true, then it's funny.
Well, an isolated incident can go back to the factory where one thing's gone wrong, but there's lots and lots of in-ear headphones or earphones that are out there that come from AliExpress and things like that, or Wish, that people are quite happy to throw into their ears, with the complete disregard. The fact that this is a Samsung one that obviously has a larger amount of quality control on it than those other ones screams that it really should be looked into. And she might have been better off picking a smaller company than Samsung, who will be all over this if it's true. Yeah. Ricky, ever heard tell of something like this?
No, I'm just reading through the article now, and the one earbud does definitely seem to be really burnt. So it'd be interesting to know what those external factors are. But it's very strange in the way it's written that they've never been charged for, come with 36% in the box, it says. So if that came with 36% charged.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend borrowed them and used the headphones and exploded in her ear. So it's... Yeah, I would look at that. Maybe a slight suspicion. But accidents do happen.
Would you lend your in-ear earbuds to anyone? Even
No.
your girlfriend or wife?
No.
Because there's a little yellow fleck there as well. I'm wondering if that's a bit of ear cheese. Ooh, right. No. I would say that's probably crap. Absolute crap. Okay, moving on to Lenovo. They've showcased it, because we're in the hard line for the hardware section now. They've showcased a compact Legion gaming tablet that has a beautiful matte black finish. Rumour has it that it might have a Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 inside of it, alongside maybe about 12 gigs of RAM, which you really should have with something like this. But yeah, Ted, what can you tell us about this? Any pricing yet?
No, they have. I don't think there's any pricing yet, but the company, the Lenovo, have now confirmed that it has got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and it seems to be a bit of a clone of the Red Magic Nova, which we spoke about on the show before, I think. But except that. This is the interesting bit about the story, I think, is that we've got something going down in size, heading back towards the gorgeous Nexus 7, which no one ever seems to want to make anymore. This is an 8.8-inch display, so it's smaller than the Red Magic Nova, and yet it's really, really well specified, and it's clearly going to have top specs, 12 gigs of RAM, for example. And no, well, I suppose the hit will be the battery life if it's going to be physically smaller. But it looks from the photographs of it, the renders, that it is beautifully made, as you would expect, I think, from Lenovo these days. Yeah, I'm interested because of the size, and if they can make one a 7-inch device like the Nexus 7, I'd be all over that, frankly. The 8.8 is a good start coming down the way. Don't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. Ricky, have you ever had time with a Lenovo gaming tablet? They've done a few in the past, but
No, I haven't experienced too many Lenovo products at all, actually, in my past, but something I'd have a look at. And this looks very nice, I must say, from the images. So it's a very sleek, I would say, a matte design to it, black matte design.
Yeah.
It looks really nice, really high sort of premium spec finish there. It's got a dual camera system by the looks of it, or might be a light.
The back of it looks very much like a phone, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. I'm trying to find.
Getting the arse off the size of a phone.
I recognise that camera. I'm trying to find a tablet here because I'm sure that I've got one that looks very much like that, but I can't find it. I think I've seen that camera thing that you're talking about, Ricky. There, that design on the back of something, and I can't quite work out what it is, but probably another Lenovo Legion device.
I would use AI to try and scan the picture of the camera and do a search to see if it was, but I can't afford the $29 a month for the subscription. So we'll just have to leave it at that. Right, big storage next. Indestructible quartz crystal can store 360 terabytes. That's 360 terabytes of data for billions of years. And they're showing a picture of a small piece of glass that's about the same size as your fingertip, that can withstand temperatures of up to 1,000 degrees C, cosmic radiation, and even direct impacts of 10 tons per centimetre squares, which means you could sit on it and it would survive.
Who, me?
Possibly you. I think more Ricky and I. Yeah. So. This is yet another story of massive amounts of storage on a very small thing that you could lose down the back of the sofa as opposed to sitting on it. What do you guys think? Are we going to reach that point where all data can be stored on one thing in the size of a micro SD card?
The interesting thing about the emphasis of this story on TechSpot is that data of the human genome could be all put onto one little thing, and then it could be sent off when the Earth is knackered in 3.5 billion years or 4 billion years. This could be sent off to some other planet on a spaceship, and then they'd have enough data on this one tiny little weeny thing to recreate from the DNA the whole of the human race again, and just start again with humans. So that kind of, I guess it's a bit tongue-in-cheek, really, but technically they reckon that could be done.
Great. I've got a few 5.25-inch discs over there that can't be read, but they can send this off to a distant planet and it could be read. Right. Gotcha.
I don't know if either of you have seen the film Minority Report. It looks like the little discs that's in that they slot into the machine to view things on, like as a memory thing. And I like when you see a sci-fi film and you see stuff like this come together, you think, oh, okay, yeah. But having the whole genome of our DNA systems on one little disc, And as you said, you got I've got 3.5 floppy disks somewhere, and yeah, can't even be read. So.
The miniaturization though is just amazing, isn't it? I mean, that's the serious point. Is that everything's just getting smaller and smaller and smaller, these chips on phones are just going from now down to 2 nanometers, and they're just going to disappear in the end.
I think at some point they're going to look to get rid of once obviously data and stuff like that and Wi-Fi get more and more instantaneous and spread wider. We'll not need storage on hard disks at all, and there'll probably be one place somewhere in the world that has one of these disks that can store all data for mankind, and then some, maybe on the moon or something like that. And we will not be allowed to actually have physical storage or storage inside of our bits of hardware, and it'll all have to be sent back up there.
Mm-hmm.
One day. And there'll be a data crash or something like that, or some company will accidentally delete it all. Some hacker will go in and wipe it. Everyone will be screwed. Right, next up is Hasselblad. They've got a new Tundra Brown version of their medium format camera, the X2D 100C, which is going to be called the Earth Explorer. Ted's getting excited already. Put the hand cream down.
Medium format cameras. This takes me right back to the 1980s. The Mamiya C-cores that I could never afford to buy. I just used to lust after medium format. Of course, in those days, it really made a difference to image quality. These days, with software tricks and very efficient chipsets and all the rest of it, it really doesn't matter because you can create the images anyway. But this is clearly a peep. They're only making 1,000 of these, and they're charging £15,000 a piece with one lens. And they're obviously,
and they're doing it in brown.
Yeah, it's an earth colour. And they're only making 1,000 of them. They'll be individually numbered. It comes with a dock as well, which looks really interesting. It's just an object of desire for people like me who remember back to the days of medium format. And it's beautifully designed, as you'd imagine. And it's called the X2D 100C, and it's according to Hasselblad, it's for adventurous photographers, adventurous with their bank accounts. Looks gorgeous.
This wouldn't leave the house. Ricky, do you have a spare 15k to head up Ben Nevis with one of these?
I sadly don't, but I must say I'm a bit like Ted here, it looks stunning. Even a couple of shots they've shown, it looks absolutely nice. But I'd be absolutely petrified to take a £15,000 camera anywhere with me. Absolutely petrified.
You put it in a display cabinet and have your friend trying to look at it.
If you could afford to buy it, then you wouldn't need to worry about losing it.
No, you wouldn't have to worry about it. But it does look incredible.
In fact, you'd buy 2 in case you lost one.
Yeah. Yeah, you always need a backup of everything, don't you? So.
True, yes. And they might do buy one, get one free on it at some point if they don't sell any, because it's brown. Right, come up is the Samsung Galaxy Tab S10 Plus and Ultra are going to ditch the Snapdragon for the MediaTek Dimensity 9300 Plus, and it's going to start at around $1,000, they suspect. It looks like they're going to be losing the smallest version, did I read somewhere?
Yeah, there's only the Plus and the Ultra, which makes you wonder why it's called a Plus, frankly. I don't know what if there isn't one that's not a Plus, then what's the point of having a Plus? The news here, though, is, as you say, this is the first time, I think, that Samsung have... although it may not be the first time they've used Dimensity chipsets, but it's certainly in one of their S-line tablets. And then they're obviously very confident about going forward with non-Snapdragon and non-Exynos and charging people £1,000, even for the smaller one. And that's with the base storage as well. You can get one up to 1 terabyte of storage, which is going to be even more, 16 gigs of RAM. These are real powerhouses. I think we spoke on the last show about the fact that they're going to include on the keyboard an AI key, So there's that as well. But yeah, the news is that this is the first time that they're going Dimensity.
Well, yeah. I wonder if it'll be Dimensity in certain areas, or it's going to be international Dimensity.
No, it's all that's all they're making apparently.
Right. Okay. The idea of losing the smallest version of it might be something to do with the FE, where it might be integrated more into the tablet lineup, because it's a bit of an oddity whenever it comes out. 6 months or 8 months later. It feels a wee bit different. Doesn't feel like it belongs with the other S9s and S8s and things like that in the lineup. So perhaps we could see the FE branding of FE being done away with, and it just becoming the S10.
Oh, okay.
FE.
You reckon they might bring the smaller one out later on?
Yeah,
okay.
I've just got a funny feeling, and they'll see how it goes. If their sales start to dip, because, well, maybe not many people are actually buying they'll already have sales numbers to see that perhaps they're producing them, not selling quite as hot cakey as the Plus and the Ultra are. So they're getting rid of that, but they are noticing the FE is still selling, because they're selling the FE for every generation, phone and tablet. So there must be a real demand for them. I like the FEs very much, and I've bought the FE whenever it comes to the phone a couple of times now. Because I think it is the best of both worlds. So why not just make that one of the regular members of the tablet line?
But the Ultra is huge, though, isn't it? I don't know if either of you two have ever used a 14.6-inch Android tablet, but that's just massive, isn't it?
It is.
It
Yeah.
certainly is.
Yeah, definitely. So even the other one's 12.4, isn't it? Which is on the fairly large side compared to most other tablets. So for me, straight away I'd go for the larger screen, as always. Bigger's better. So yeah, that's a great option, but yeah, just carrying that around as well, it's a huge sheet of glass.
Presumably, if the Plus is going to be £1,000 for the base storage, then the Ultra with 1 terabyte and 16 gigs of RAM is likely to be about double that, I would imagine, or maybe about £1,600.
$1,600. So.
Oh, is it? Okay.
So $1,600.
Wow, so it's actually coming to the point that, Ted, you were saying about the 7-inch and the 8-inch being very much endangered species. Now the 10 and 11-inch are possibly going to become endangered species too.
Yeah.
But I also think, looking in this as well, the ask for tablets around that size, the 7-inch or the 9-inch, 10-inch tablet, there are people out there that still trying to seek them and find them. So I think you'll see companies such as Samsung do the FE models. I think the iPad mini will make a return. I think Apple needs to be careful with how they price that. But I think you'll see companies will integrate the likes of AI as well, as they have done with this tablet. That will be in the smaller form factors, because I think they are usable. When I had an iPad mini, I really enjoyed it because it was helpful in my bag, just on the go. Instead of getting out, I've got an iPad Pro that's 12, I think, is it 12.9 inch, the iPad Pro? And sometimes it's just really large, sat just watching a film on the train.
You become self-aware of yourself, because people are going, holy crap, that person's bought a cinema screen with them.
Yeah.
I felt that with my last tablet, the S8. I bought the Plus, and it was far too big for sitting on the train. My elbow was going across onto the next person, because I'm not quite a big person as it is. But that's why I went for the smallest version of the S9, because I became quite aware of myself with a huge tablet, and having a 14-inch would just be taking the absolute mick.
And it's strange to see as well, the connectivity is only Wi-Fi. There's no network option.
Yeah.
Oh, is there no cellular one?
No, there's no cellular option.
Right.
Oh, there is. Oh, there is. Sorry, with the Plus version, but not the Ultra. That's very strange.
They're expecting people to use the Ultra at home and not take it with them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow. I still find it pretty amazing that they do that. They put the the SIM card into the tablet because you can just pair it with your phone. But I suppose for business and stuff like that, it's probably where it works a bit better. Right, well, moving into audio area, FiiO, the K15 has had a little article thrown up on darkoaudio.audio. And this is a very cute little dongle-y DAC that has a picture of a cassette player on the front. I think this looks quite swish, although it's tiny. Ted, do tell.
Yeah. The thing that attracted me was the what you just said. Really, is it's got a picture of a cassette tape on it, and it's just so cute and lovely. But it's got a it's basically a dongle, USB in and 3.5mm out ×2, I think. And it's got all sorts of shenanigans inside it to make it better than everything else that's gone before it, of course. 120 steps of fine control for volume, for example, and all sorts of technical stuff that if you're an audiophile you'd know about. But also there's an app that's coming with it, which is the FiiO app, which gives you an equalizer for your phone as well. So not only do you get all the readouts all over the device itself, but also you can call it up in the phone and you can install the equalizer to work with it as well. Just looks like great fun, tiny, and no doubt it will blow everyone's ears apart. You don't need to set fire to your ears, just turn this on.
Yeah, it's really small though. I'd be really worried about losing it. But it's not terribly expensive. It's about 110 or 130 euros. $110, 130 euros.
Yeah, I was gonna,
Decent.
it's a nice little add-on.
Ricky, do you have a DAC?
I know, I don't, but this would be so portable. I would wonder where I've put it though. That's the thing. It looks so nice though. It looks very sweet.
It's even got the buttons on it, like it's a cassette, like it's a Sony Walkman. The buttons on the side.
Yes, it does.
Are they functional, those buttons? I suppose you'd have trouble pressing them.
I think they're volume buttons. Yeah,
Oh, there's a slider there as well. It looks like a lock, or maybe the
Yeah,
on-off.
yeah.
Ah, yeah, on-off slider.
excellent. I like FiiO.
Oh, that's
FiiO do some really interesting stuff, and as you say, it's usually priced really well.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing that you kind of want to just be able to buy and get into your life and try and find a place for it.
Yeah,
I probably wouldn't use half of it.
Well, I've used DACs, and I've got one here, and to be honest, I don't use it because I think that the output of audio now on phones, particularly, is so good, and Bluetooth is just amazingly good. That for me, the non-audiophile, if you like, I just don't need it, and that leads us nicely on to our next audio antics item about the new upgrade on the Marshall Monitor 3, which looks absolutely lovely. I've got Marshall Monitor, the first version. I didn't get the second one, and that they've upped the battery on the newest model, and they've made it even more comfortable around the ears. They've also increased the price by 30 quid, so it's $299 now. These are available now. You can buy them. And they're just so well designed. If you scroll down on the page, you can see that signature Marshall red velvet case they come in, and they fold up onto themselves, and they just fold up tiny. The one thing I don't like about Marshall audio headphones and earphones is that they muck about with Android 14. So many times you go to try and use the Marshall app on the phone and it says we're having problems with Android 14, and that's been just going on forever. So with Android 15 coming, I don't think that I'd have much confidence in that being the case. And also, they don't always have the Google Assistant smarts on them. I don't know how it works with Apple smarts, with Siri or whatever, but with the Google Assistant smart, I consistently, with Marshall stuff, even it's got access to their own app, you can't really get the smarts going and the Google Assistant to talk to you and stuff like that. Or if you do, then it's really, really basic. But apart from that, yeah, the sound quality, I've no doubt at all, is going to be absolutely lovely. And they're beautifully made, and I'd love a pair of these. But $299, I'll probably give it a miss.
$299 is that's not a bad price whenever you factor in what the competition is. You know, if you were to put these up against a pair of Sonys or a pair of Sennheisers, you'd probably end up paying that amount of money for for these, if not getting lesser quality headphones, maybe. And they're built British, aren't they?
Well, they used to be. But they're made in China now.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Any experience with Marshall there, Ricky?
No. Like I said, I've got the Sonys, which it references. I'm used to the Sonys, but they do look nice. They do. And I know with some headphones, when I've tested them, that they either have full integration with OS, like Google and Android, or iOS and Siri. It's either full or partial. There's no in between.
Yeah.
There's no... Most of the time it's limited. It's very limited interaction. Unless you buy manufactured ones by the manufacturer of the smartphone.
Yeah,
That's when you get the full in.
The Sony one is really, really good. The Sony XM4 headset, which I'm same as what I've got, you get the full suite of exactly the same as you would do if you plugged in a physical pair of Google's own earphones. You get the full the full suite of everything. Whereas if you try, for example, to use the equipment on, like, for example, on a Samsung phone, you get this kind of voice with Google Assistant that is nothing to do with the Google Assistant voice that you've set up, and it doesn't. A lot of systems don't read your notifications aloud, even though you're telling them to. I think that's what you're talking about, Ricky, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, it can be a real pain in the ass, but getting that in there would be a better thing. Anyway, right, moving on. Pro-Ject. There's a new T1 EVO turntable. Ted, you have one of the, or not one of these, but you've got a Pro-Ject.
I've got two.
Well, one's not good enough, is it?
No.
For scratching at the weekends? Gotcha.
No. One of them I use for my second-hand knackered records, and the other one I use for my proper but bought nice new records. But yeah, there's a new set of three turntables coming out. Base price £335. A new what's it called? The Autophon OM10mm cartridge is being used across the range. The platters are made of glass, which is really, really interesting. The one thing you can say about Pro-Ject turntables is they're so beautifully made, a bit like we were saying just now about Marshall stuff. And you know, there's a Bluetooth version at the top of the range, and there's one with a phono stage in the middle, and Bluetooth, and the bass is not got a phono stage in it, so you need an amp for that one. But you know, so across the range they've got different options. They've also got an automatic press button speed changer. And now both of mine haven't got that. You have to take the band off, you take the platter off and move the band one kind of cog to the other one. Now, I know some people would think that that's great and that's very manual and all the rest of it, but to just have a press button version is, you know... I don't know, Ricky, did you get back into collecting records at all?
No, I didn't. No, but it looks nice with the glass top. It looks really nice. It looks a piece that would just sit in a room quite well. I think a good friend that I think Gareth might know as well, Jay Garrett. Yeah, definitely. This is him. I see having this all day long.
Yeah. So Ted, you to change from a 45, you
have to on one of my Pro-Ject turntables, you have to actually lift the platter up, and underneath it you can see the band, and you move the band from one cog to the next one to change the speed. The other turntable's got the same arrangement, but you don't have to lift the platter up, so that the band goes round the outside of the platter onto the two cogs, but you still have to change it physically.
Yeah. Actually, now you mention it, I think you told us that before, but wow, that it's great that they've installed something from the 20th century at least in this push button. Terrific. No, they're lovely bits of hardware, and they were for audiophiles. I'm sure they'd absolutely love to have something like this.
Yeah, they're not as posh as these.
Ted, you've got two. Wow.
Oh, actually, no. Actually, one of them is. My best one is as posh as this. It's just not as new as this.
As posh as this. Okay, in the wearable section, there's only one wee thing to talk about, and that's that we've got Google's Wear OS 5 update that has arrived, and it's got a new grid view. For your Pixel Watch 1 and 2. I'm not sure, Ricky, if you have a Wear OS watch, do you?
No, I don't have I have a smartwatch, but I don't really use it that much. But a grid view is easier, I would say, than... I'm guessing it was from a list view.
Yeah.
Oh, there's an update on this story, that they pulled the update.
Oh, right.
I've forgotten that. So they rolled out the OS 5 update to Wear, and I installed it on my Pixel Watch, and it's working, and you can choose to have the grid view, just like you can on a Samsung Watch. They've just copied that, basically. All working fine. I've got no problems with it at all, but apparently other people, it's being bricked, and they got real problems with it. So Google have pulled the whole update. Sorry, I forgot to mention that in the notes there.
Wow, if they pulled the whole update, that's something else.
I've got it, though.
Yeah, but it could be doing something like erroneously sending all your nudes to Putin.
Yes.
It could be. You never know.
I just think he'll be very pleased.
You never know. He's sitting on a big red button that says fire, so you don't want to piss him off too much.
I know what you mean, Ricky, about wearing watches, though. I very often don't use mine because if I want to count my steps, I can do that with the phone using Google Fit. Well, until they take it away next year. And what else? I can change music tracks with the face of my watch, which I guess it saves getting your watch, the phone out of your pocket. But I do know what you mean. You think, well, it's a nice bit of tech to have, but am I really using it?
Yeah, again, it's one of those things. Do you really use it? And I asked the question once on my X. Do you actually use a smartwatch? And people said, oh, yeah, I do. And I was like, okay, how much do you use it? What do you use it? And for me, I had the SE model of the Apple Watch, and it damaged so quickly. So quickly. I might be a bit more clumsy than some other people, but the damage was just unbelievable. I think it was about 3 weeks in, it got a huge scratch against it, and I think I only tapped the side of the wall. Do you know what I mean? It was just... I would rather have a watch that was a little bit more steadier. So I suppose I could go for a Garmin and that as well. There are other options. But for me, as long as I know I'm going out for a walk, that's fine. I don't need something to count my spaces. And I think that's the thing that gets people tied into it, isn't it? All like close your rings or close your fitness circles. I think people like that challenge and like that activity. So that's why they buy it.
Yeah, all the health stuff and all the rest of it. And when I at the beginning of this year, I had a scare with diabetes. They thought I might have diabetes, and I have to admit that I had a Samsung watch at the time, and I have to admit that you do get kind of transfixed by monitoring your health if you've got something wrong with you. And not that can do blood glucose levels, but it just encouraged me to be tracking everything I was doing because I was not well. So perhaps you've got to be sick to really appreciate it.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It is one of those things that if you need it, you can use it, but most people really don't. And it's nice to go back to a good old-fashioned analog watch, to be honest. All right, in the phone zone, we're going to be talking about the Thinkphone. Ted, I've got a funny feeling you're going to get all excited about this, but the Thinkphone being essentially a tie-in with the ThinkPad and the Think.
Yeah, all the Microsoft. What was the Microsoft Think stuff, which is now Lenovo Think stuff. And this is the news here is that they're updating the Thinkphone. I've got a Thinkphone still here, and it's a lovely phone. It's built for being chucked about building sites and being dropped off of bridges, and it's really, really well made. Yeah. Anyway, the news here is that Microsoft are going to make Lenovo. No, hang on, what's it called? It's called the Lenovo Thinkphone by Motorola.
Catchy.
I think that's it. Yeah, and they're going to make a new one. And the bottom line here is that the new one is going to be, in Ed House's words from our group this week, Edge 50 Neo clone in work clothes. So they've taken after he put that, I checked the specs against the Edge 50 Neo, and he's quite right. It's exactly the same phone. So what they've done is they've put a kind of robust military grade styling and what have you around the Edge 50 Neo, but apart from that, it's the same. So the specifications are not as good as the original Thinkphone. But they're kind of updating it with all the new Motorola stuff, like the Smart Connect and the Hello UI and all the rest of it, which the original Thinkphone has not got. But yeah, very nice, and I'm sure that it will sell really well, particularly if they continue to have this hook up with Think laptops and stuff.
I'm really surprised this didn't come out a couple of years ago, whenever the likes of home working was becoming really prevalent in the workplace. And, laptops were being handed out to all and sundry, and mobile phones as well. I'm, as I said earlier, I'm sitting with an iPhone for my work phone, but, these sorts of things could have been sitting ready to go, or pretty much ready to go, because it's very easy just to put the Thinkphone on any of Motorola's phones, and then chuck them out. And had a whole line picking up all the business. But now here we are in 2025, and people are starting to go back to the office, and they're bringing them out.
Yeah. Well, this is allegedly the updated version, and it's all down to a deal that's been done with Microsoft, and you can tell that because they're keeping the Thinkphone really, really up to date. They've obviously been locked into an agreement with Microsoft where Microsoft said you can do all this with our stuff, and there's an extra element in Smart Connect. So if you sign up to the £20 a month Microsoft 365 for business or whatever it's called, then you get an extra element where you can access what's it called, cloud windows for windows in the cloud or something.
Yeah.
It's all business orientated anyway, and I haven't paid the £20 a month for my Thinkphone. I can't access that. Maybe I should just pay it for 1 month and see what it's like.
Nah, I wouldn't bother. You'd be so upset by what you just spent money on there. Ricky, ever used a Think or any Think products?
Think laptop I've had in the past, but just looking at this article, they've shifted from a Qualcomm Snapdragon to Dimensity 7300, and also the battery that's quite small, 4310. That's quite small for the size of the phone. I was expecting a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
The whole device is the same as the Edge 50 Neo, and the Edge 50 Neo is smaller than the original Thinkphone was.
That's probably sure. Why we've got that. But no, the specs, reading through it, the charging is very good. It's a very quick charging, 68 watts charging. So that's good. I'm guessing that's using the Neo technology as well.
Okay.
The Neo's got 68 watt charging as well. Yeah, it's basically a clone, and it's got the ruggedized outside shell on it, and the military grade stuff going on. The IP69, I think it is, not even 6.8. I think it's 6.9, which protects it against. Is it extreme heat or chemicals or something? It's something extra.
Yeah,
syphilis.
I can't remember. It's always good to be protected against that.
Absolutely.
It was quite interesting, actually. Just shifting slightly here. I had a comment saying, have I ever reviewed the Samsung Xcalia or something? It's a rugged phone from Samsung, and I'm looking to compare it against a phone. So I think I may have found its competitor to compare it against. I didn't know
I think we've actually covered them quite a lot.
Yeah, I didn't know Samsung actually had a rugged phone. It was interesting to read.
Yeah. They've done a line of them, which are called the X.
Is it?
What's it called? What did you say it was?
I want to say Excalibur, but that's not right. It's something.
No,
it's definitely X.
Active, X Active, is it? I think it might be X Active.
Yeah, it could be, because there's the tablets as well. They do. Which we've covered a few times.
Yeah, the X Active, and they've done that over the last few years, but they never seem to get much traction. some of them, are, the X Active, if that's what it's called, are really well specified and ruggedized, as you say. No, X Cover. There it is. It's the X Cover.
That's it. X Cover. There is the Galaxy Tab Active 5, which I'm guessing is a bit more of a bouncier option. Okay. But yeah, the phones, I think. No, it seems X Cover now. But yes, someone asked me to check it out, which I'm going to do. Actually, I'm going to have one and check it out. But I just thought, I'm looking for something to compare it against.
Yeah, the Thinkphone would be quite good in that respect. Certainly, it's got military standards. Certainly, yeah. Or you could get an old Nokia XR20.
Could do.
Cool. Well, okay. Well, we'll move on to the next one because, it's about Android 15, which Ted was just covering, and it looks like one little company has decided to go ahead and start pushing out an update to Android 15 before Google or even Samsung have started pushing out, and that is Vivo, which isn't a chain of stores down south in the Republic of Ireland. It is in fact a phone manufacturer that we've actually covered a few times. I think I reviewed a Vivo phone a number of years ago, so I take they say it's an obscure brand. I don't believe that at all. I'm sure you guys know Vivo too. So we're going to start seeing a new update for which particular phone is it? I think I saw it in there, but
it's the range of the V100s and all that, isn't it? The thing is, before we recorded, I went to try and find a Vivo phone in Amazon UK, and there's one really kind of old and low end one. These newer ones that they're talking about here, the X100 series and the X Fold 3 Pro, I don't know how you're supposed to buy them in the UK really, because I can't find them on sale anywhere. You have to go to eBay or import them from AliExpress. You know, Vivo is not a phone that you just see very much anywhere, I don't think. Do you agree, Ricky, or have you ever had one in your hand?
I had one about 3 years ago. I can't remember the actual model number because their model numbers are very odd as well. But it was picked up quite well on the channel. People enjoyed seeing something different. Again, I think it's always good to see what they do, but I haven't seen these models in the UK. Like you said, you're going to have to go through a third party to try and get it into the UK.
They're predominantly sold in Bangladesh, Laos, Nepal, Singapore, Thailand, Philippines, Malaysia, India, Indonesia, Myanmar, and Russia. UK.
Anyway, if you live in one of those countries and you've got a Vivo, you've got Android 15 first.
Yeah, with the Fun Touch OS update on there.
Sounds dreadful, doesn't it?
No, it sounds lovely.
Fun Touch.
It looks very nice for an overlay. And it allows you to take selfies, and there's a filter called Champagne and Tender. Pink.
Nice.
Lovely. Right. Grand. Moving on. Flap your chop about an app where Ted, you can declutter your PC and remove all your empty folders with a handy tool called Declutter, I think. Maybe. Possibly.
Is that what it's called? Actually, I can't remember. It is called Declutter, isn't it? I installed this on my computer, took one for the team to see if it was okay, and it found when I ran it to declutter my registry of my Windows computer, it found 26,000 empty. Windows is dreadful, isn't it? No wonder you've gone to Linux. 26,000 empty folders in my registry it found. And it wanted to delete them all. I stopped.
So this is a reg scanner as opposed to scanning your hard disks?
Yeah, it's well. I think it's both. You can choose when you run the software. You can choose what you want it to run. I chose to run everything, and so it also included the registry. But that was what I was most interested in.
Okay.
But anyway, you can tell it to scan whatever you like, and 26,000. Windows is just terrible, isn't it? For just littering your computer with absolute bollocks you don't need.
Yes. Unnecessary bollocks is a bit weird, especially on gentlemen. There's no shortage of scanners like this, so it's very difficult to find one that actually is safe. So this is recommended by XDA developers. So hopefully it's not a nefarious reg scanner.
Right.
But you've got to be careful whenever you're scanning your registry. Don't just delete everything and think, oh, there's nothing in there, I'll just get rid of that, because you might end up breaking things and not having any bollocks, and that could be somewhat...
That's why I stopped. I didn't actually let it run. I just let it scan.
Right, okay. So you still have your bollocks intact. And
I still got
26,000 entries in your registry.
I have 26,000 empty folders are still there, cluttering up.
Oh, that would annoy me. That would annoy me to know that they found that much room and then I didn't do anything about it.
I do remember recommending a tool to a friend once, back whenever CC Cleaner was a good piece of software. It's not so much anymore. And he went and ran it, and I just said, yeah, get rid of all the gunk. And he must have had delete everything turned on, because the computer didn't work whenever he went and restarted it after it was all done. And he completely bollocks it all up, and he had to install Windows again. And I felt really guilty because I recommended the piece of software. So, did you look at it first? And he went, no, I just hit scan and delete. Oh, okay.
Whoops.
Yeah, you need to have a bit more of a clue when you're doing something. I mean, if you went into a bedroom and decided, right, okay, I'm going to clear this out, and just threw everything in the dump and then walked back into the bedroom and went, hang on a second, there's no furniture, then, yeah, you might have wanted to be a bit more selective. But anyway, so declutter, you say, is, or RED, I think it's been called here, Remove Empty Directories app.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, RAD it's called, you're right.
Okay. Well, that's good if you've got a Windows machine and need to do that. Ted, do tell us about Google Gallows and the Chrome Corner and what's happening in the ways of Google.
Well, there's apparently Chromebooks, which were getting, was it 9 years of updates, or 10 years of updates. There was a thing that came along, which was reported in Chrome Unboxed, where certain Chromebooks were getting another 2 years out of it. So they had to be NISA baseboard Chromebooks, which apparently have been pushed out typically to educational establishments, and they're giving them another 2 years. However, when Robbie was looking at the AUE, he noticed that all of the data had been stripped out. So the second story is he's not so sure anymore, but we're hoping that is still the case. And there are certain Chromebooks you can buy now that have got an extra 2 years on them, so that's fine. The other story was about a new feature in Chromebooks which allows you to sanitize your Chromebook. Sanitize as opposed to power wash. So it's a stage between doing nothing and power washing. And if you want to sanitize your Chromebook, it strips out things like it disables extensions and resets settings to safe defaults. It strips out tabs and files and cookies and blah blah. No, sorry, it keeps tabs and files and cookies intact. So it kind of is halfway to a power wash. It's a new thing, and you get to it by going to the power menu in the same way as you would with a power wash. So that was my two quick stories really on the Chrome Corner.
So it's not a button that you can press if your girlfriend wants to sit down and use your laptop.
To sanitize it.
Yes. Right. Okay. Well, very useful features. Nice of Google to be thinking of those sorts of things. It really is a bit of a hodgepodge whenever it comes to Chromebooks getting updates, and you don't know what you're buying into. And again, it harks back to the idea that it would be nice to have one operating system that kind of does everything for everything, and you don't have to worry about it. And you can pick up an old laptop somewhere and reuse old hardware, install it on it, which is where Linux comes into it. But they have to drop certain levels of technology. I think dual core processors are I don't know if they're still supported anymore. They might be by the larger lion's share of operating systems. So I suppose you have to draw a line somewhere. But if you buy a Chromebook today, you'd like to think that you're going to be able to use it for those 9 years.
Or in this case, 12 years.
12 years, yeah.
which is even better. I blow hot and cold with Chromebooks. I love the idea of Chromebooks, and I love tinkering with them. But then, most of the time, I just don't use it. Ricky, any thoughts on Chromebooks and validity for one's workflow?
I've used them, and again, it was a review unit, so it goes back. So I haven't got any stored. Anything I've got, I think, is on a Magic Book. Don't tell them. Hope they're not listening. But I've got on a Magic Book, which is Windows, which is great. So I've got a Windows machine that I use. But no, Chrome-wise, not that much. And I've started using Chrome as a browser more than others. Friends keep telling me to try DuckDuckGo, which is quite interesting. So a bit of a side spin there. But talking about the year longevity, like years of updates, is that I don't know if you knew on the Z Fold devices, especially the one I'm reviewing, it's saying 7 years, but I was reading an article, I can't remember where the article is, they reckon it could only be 5 years. They're saying 7, but they reckon more than likely it'll only be 5.
And hopefully by the time they get to those 2 years that are in the grey area, everyone will have forgotten and no one will see them.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. That's basically...
Right.
That's interesting. I haven't seen any data directly about that.
Yeah, I will
Perhaps
find it.
if you've got
I will
a link,
find it because it was interesting. They were going down that premise that people will just forget when they bought their device, when it was launched, in what cycle it was launched as well, because that could be a thing as well, of the cycle it was launched in, like between Android 13, 14, between 14, 15. It
was it also true of Pixels?
No, it was more of Samsung, because it was talking about the longevity of it.
Yeah, but Pixels, they matched Samsung on the 7 years. So I wonder.
I will definitely find the articles. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Great. Thanks.
Okie dokie. Well, we'll move into the bargain basement for the finale of the show. Well, I'll start. Me here. I've got 2 Wi-Fi plugs, smart plugs, because it's been a while since I've plugged a plug. Tapo smart Wi-Fi outlets. There's 2 actually deals here that you might want to take advantage of if you feel the need to turn that house into a smart home like Ricky's trying to do. The Tapo Smart Wi-Fi outlet works with Amazon, Alexa and Google Home. It's a wireless smart socket device sharing thing with no energy monitoring one, and I'm not seeing the deal on both the energy monitoring ones here. These are just the less smart ones there, so no hub required. The 2-pack, it was 20 quid, but today it's down to £16 on Amazon, and then the 4-pack as well is down from £40 to £22.99, but there is also a voucher on those 2 which adds 6 more percentage of discount to that too, and I don't have a calculator anywhere near me to be able to try to work out what that is, because working out percentages was something that I didn't get taught in school. I just got spanked a lot.
It's probably about a quid, so it probably brings it down to 21 quid, I'd say.
Yeah, why not? We'll go with that. Ted didn't get spanked in school, so fine. Although he wanted to, he kept trying, he told me. Yeah, so decent little home plugs there for you to plug it in and turn lights off and be able to achieve certain things, depending on how you need them. I like these things, I do. And Tapo's one of the better brands.
It is. I've got 4 of these, and I use one of them. There's 3 in a drawer.
Well, it's a pity you can't use them to switch the bands around on your record players.
Indeed. Right, my first one is the Galaxy Buds 3 Pro, which have been not long introduced and gone on sale, but they've been reduced already. These are the ones, if you remember, they pulled because something was going wrong with them. I can't remember what it was now, but they went back on sale quite quickly. And anyway, they've been reduced for the first time.
Bursting into flames in people's ears, possibly.
What was it that they pulled them for?
I can't remember.
they were not doing something they were supposed. I can't remember now, but there was a temporary kind of halt on the selling of them when they were first released. Anyway, the news here is that they've been reduced for the first time quite soon after release, really, from 219 to 169, and so yeah, bit of a saving there.
Nice one. Yeah, they're good looking headphones as well. Earphones, earplugs, whatever you want to call them. Things that play music. The Synology DS423 Plus is a 4-bay desktop NAS. I have the 923 Plus, but the 423 Plus, which some people actually say, depending on how you look at it, is better. It's certainly better if you're looking to set up the Plex server than the 923, because I think it actually has it's got a different processor in it that has integrated graphics. Maybe, don't quote me on that. But it's been dropped in price for the first time in yonks. And it's down from £509.99p down to £414.99p. This is just the enclosure alone. There's no hard disks with that at all. But it's an excellent price if you're looking to maybe branch out and maybe start setting up a NAS for backup purposes or for just storing your media and that sort of thing. I absolutely adore mine, and it changed my world, to be honest, when I got my 923 Plus. But the 423 Plus I always looked at and went, should I? The other one has a 9. 9's got to be better than a 4, so I went with a 9. But I should have gone with a 4, because it was better for Plex. Yeah.
Interestingly, these are being sold by Amazon themselves, but I'm seeing a delivery of 1 to 2 months. Which you'd expect that with a third-party seller, but are you seeing quicker delivery where you are?
I am. I just thought that was maybe down to it's a really good deal, and NASs sell quick. People who want NASs buy them, snap them up.
Right.
I'm seeing 14th of October to 11th of November, so a bit of a delay.
Yeah.
I am very much, Gareth, going to be asking you about this because I think I've got 24 terabytes of drives, like single-use drives, that I am going to look to put into one big drive, so I will be having a chat.
Okay. Yeah. Get one of these. They're cool.
Very good. Okay, I'm on the Tessan 10-metre extension cable with 274,000 different plugs on it, and it's a little tower. It's a little tower extension thingy, but it's got a 10 meters, 30 feet of cable, and then it's 8 plugs on the end of it, and USB-A ports as well. Independent switching. Looks really nice, and it's been reduced from 42 quid to 32. So if you're in for an extension need, get a posh one.
It's got surge protection on there as well, which is worth pointing out. Although some people have done deep dives into these ones being sold on Amazon that say they're surge protection and gone, no, it doesn't. And by the time you actually have to find that out, it's too late. But hopefully it does. You can only take it at face value. But yes, that's a really cool looking one. I've got one quite similar to that behind my TV. It's a lot taller, but I like it with the 3 USBs on top. What are the USBs? What speed are they? Or what power rating are they? It don't say.
It doesn't, does it? No. It probably is.
I shall investigate further later on. But that looks like a pretty good deal because they're a good looking thing. And there's a wee LED down at the bottom as well that says grounded and protected.
Oh yeah, so it has got protection. Otherwise it wouldn't have that light on it, would it?
Well, yeah, absolutely. All right, next one is, I'm really close to actually going for this because I do love it very, very much. This is a Denon, the DM41 DAB hi-fi system. It's a CD player with speakers. Ooh, I love these. It's an audio receiver, Bluetooth, 2 times 30 watt subwoofer pre-out, speakers on there, FM radio, DAB Plus tuner, and 2 times digital optical inputs, and 1 headphone output. I still see the need for these in the house, and I've been tinkering with or playing with the idea of getting a wee Denon to put over with my audio bits over there. just for when that one time that you want to listen to a CD around Christmas time, maybe, or someone buys you a CD.
If you've got a CD, yeah.
Yeah, I do have a wee selection, so I've got quite a big selection, actually. I'm being modest. But yeah, I love the look of this, and the reviews are fantastic, and it's dropped in price from £400 down to £350, which is good. It's also saying dispatched in 1 to 3 months, but free delivery, you'll get it here by the 24th of October.
Oh, that was £269 earlier in the day. In fact, Jay, you put it in the notes at £269. I reckon that during the day they put that back up to £349. The swines.
I'm looking to keep it. They have, yes. It was £269 up until 10:16 this morning.
Right.
Their other option is £269. There's two different options.
The microsystem?
Yeah, the microsystem is £269, and then with the speakers, it's
it goes up.
It goes up.
It must have been a pricing mistake then.
Oh yeah, that's right. There's a £269 without the speakers. You're quite right, Ricky. So depends on whether you need the speakers, I suppose. Yeah, because that makes it £90. No, £80 for the speakers, doesn't it?
Yeah, but it was a really good deal at £269. It's not so much now. That's not fair.
The swines.
I'm going to stand in the corner. Next.
The last one, I'm going to go back to my TCL 50 Pro Next Paper because it's currently $279.99 on Amazon, which in itself, read my review, link in the show notes, is a stunning bargain. It's such a cool bit of kit. But they also, if you order before the end of September, which gives you 3 days, I think it is, no, 2 days, you get access to claiming a TCL Next Paper Tab 11, which is currently valued at £169, which means that you get the phone for £110. And I can't see much more of a bargain basement than that. It's really cool. I mean, if you don't want the tablet, obviously you can flog it or give it to someone for Christmas, or look at it and say, this is fantastic. Even though I didn't want one, I want to keep it because it's so nice, or something like that. Yes, there you go.
Quality, absolute quality.
And I must say, I've had that tablet. It's great. It's nice. It's a good tablet. Yeah.
Oh, right.
It was one I had with the 40.
Okay, well, I might end up keeping it then.
Really good. Really good.
Excellent. Right, okay. Well, top-notch stuff there for folks who are listening to this show and only this show. Yeah. Right, okay. Well, if you want to get in touch with us, you can by emailing us at gareth@techaddicts.uk. You can find me on Twitter as well, at Gareth Miles, GarethMyles. I'm also on Mastodon too, and I have my GarethMiles.com, and I just caught my finger in a drawer.
Ouch.
Yeah, okay. Ted, where can they find you?
TedSalmon.com. You'll find all the stuff I do on there, links to all my audio podcasts, and our MeWe groups. And if you want to buy me a coffee, you can do that. It's at paypal.me/TedSalmon. And come and join us in the MeWe group. Links all over the place to that.
Okay. And Ricky, where can folks find you?
I'm across all social medias at Ricky's Tech Talk. I can be found there.
Excellent. And you're on Twitter as well, isn't
it? It's still
Tech Talk UK1.
No, it's all at Ricky's Tech Talk now. I've changed them all. It's all been changed. It's all under one umbrella.
Cool. All right, there's links to those in the show notes for anyone if they need to find them. All right, well, that about brings us to the end. It's been lovely having you back on again there, Ted as well, and Ricky. And we'll catch us all in 2 weeks' time. Other than that, take care.
Goodbye.
Thanks.